Hi everyone, welcome to Gen Chem 1. If you're watching this video, you are registered for Chem 1411. Hopefully you've already watched the course orientation video, but if you haven't and this is the first video you're watching, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Professor Martinez and we're going to be in this class together. So this is how D2L looks for you. So I wanted to walk you through how to get to the lab material before we actually start talking about the lab. So, you have your content here on the left-hand panel. First lab is lab 1. So in every lab folder, I have obviously the student learning outcomes related to this lab, and all that means is that there are certain things that you need to learn in this class based off of Lone Star and the state of Texas, and this is what this lab is addressing. I also always link the textbook. So for example, in this lab, you're learning about measurements. So I linked the portion of the textbook that is relevant. So for example, if you wanted to go ahead and read, or if you wanted to be reminded of where in the textbook this is coming from, here's that link. So that's always available. And then finally is your actual lab assignment. So here is where I have, short instructions on how you're going to do this every week. So first, open up your lab, right? Before I do that, I'm actually going to go through these, but once you open up that lab, read through it, the objective and the intro, and then is when I would go ahead and open up this video that you're watching right now. Optional is to watch these more lecture-based videos that I have linked here. So these may or may not be useful to you depending on, your level of knowledge or how confident you are in what you've learned in lecture. So if you feel you need to refresh, go ahead and watch those videos. Like I said, these are optional. And then is when I would go ahead and suggest you to either print your lab if you like to do it by hand, or save it to your computer, iPad, tablet. If you're an iPad person and you like writing with your Apple Pencil, definitely recommend you downloading it as a PDF. If you're a computer person, I would say download it as Word. And then you would complete your data collection and applied exercises. Now, some more info on submitting assignments. And I'm addressing this in the first video. Obviously, I'm not going to be repeating this over and over, but some rules for submissions, and this is in your syllabus as well. Upload as a single file, PDF or Word. Please do not upload as multiple JPEG, PNG, a bunch of different files. I just need one file. That's it. Please make sure it's not the wrong or a blank file, because those will be graded as 0. Please make sure it's not corrupt. So please just make sure it's the correct file, that it's not corrupt whenever you upload it. I will not accept makeup submissions for corrupt files or blank files, because if I see that, it's not fair to other students. So just please always double check. And if you do need more time for the assignment, all you have to do is ask for an extension. So what should I do if I know I won't be able to submit something on time? You have 3 extension coupons you can use. Again, in the syllabus, if you watch the course orientation video, I talk about this more. So now you finally open up your lab. I believe this is the PDF. Yes. So PDF is my favorite, which you'll be able to tell. But open up your lab. There's objectives, part 1, part 2, intro. So I always strongly recommend for you to finish and read fully, is what I meant to say. Read fully the intro, because it has really good information summarized in like 1 to 2 to 3 pages. It's info from lecture. It's not just, info from left field that's coming out of nowhere. It's relevant to lecture. And it usually contains relevant information for answering some of the questions in the lab. So you always want to refer back to the intro. So right now I'm just scrolling through it. I'll let you read it. I don't want to spoil anything. But there's 3 parts to this lab. So the first part is about safety, and you probably guessed that based off the name of the lab. But first part, safety. Second part, measurements. And then third part, when I finally get there, graphing data. So 3 parts. So you'll notice that the procedure is also split into 3 parts. So the first part is about safety. You'll be answering some questions about safety. You'll be visiting an MSDS sheet, which you can click on here, and I'll let you visit that later on more in detail. And here I go, scrolling all over again. Second part, measurements. So in this part, you'll actually be doing a few things with very, very common household things. So mainly what you need is, so the main things that you need, I just had a coughing attack, so I had to pause it. But anyway, I'm back. So the main things that you need are soap and water. So soap and water, it's preferable if you get bubble solution because this makes really nice bubbles. So if you can, the easiest thing to do is like go to the dollar store and get bubble solution, like for kids in the toy section. You can also find a recipe for making bubble solutions. It's, like I said, mostly soap and water. There's a few more things in it like glycerin. But just if you happen to have either bubble solution at home already, or if you can buy it, that works great. You need a straw, just any old straw from from a drink that you got fast food or something, cotton string, a plain ruler, and then a measuring tape. So very easy things from the dollar store. If you were to add all this up, $2, maybe $3, $4, $5. So hopefully you can get those things. If you do need to use an alternative to any of these things, just try your best. Or let me know if you just absolutely can't. We'll figure out what virtual alternative we can do. But hopefully you can do it. And you're going to follow the directions. These directions are pretty detailed. So just follow step by step. And I promise you, it's all laid out. And like I said, like I always say in my announcements is what I should say, just let me know if you have any questions. Essentially what you're doing, main idea of what you're doing, you're measuring some bubbles. You're measuring the circumference of them, and you are going to produce a graph from this. So like I said, procedure very detailed. Now, once you collect all that data, you're going to graph it. And again, very detailed outline of how to graph this. How does the actual data collection look? So that's where this part is. Part 1, safety. It's those few safety questions that I had at the beginning. Notice that I have this part in the instructions to please answer in complete sentences. So part of how I grade your labs is that I look for following instructions. So, if I ask for show all calculations, I look for you showing all those calculations with correct units, with correct sig figs, all of that. And then if I ask for you to please answer in complete sentences, that's what I'm looking for. So just make sure to follow the instructions. They can be simple sentences. I just want you to practice scientific writing. That's the whole point of this. And then we get to part 2, and that is where you are showing your data in a table. So I'm going to let you have some freedom here, and you're going to construct a table either in Word or in Excel, and you can make your table there and then just copy and paste it here. You have to show the trial number, the diameter, and the circumference of your bubbles that you measured. And then once you finish part 3, what you're doing is graphing that data that you just tabulated here. And you're going to show me your graph that you generated right here. So it's all connected, part 2 and 3 at least, very, very well connected. So it's not like you're starting over and over, right? And part 1 about safety, super easy. Don't stress out about that one at all. And then finally, the applied exercises. You are, again, following instructions, answering some questions about sig figs, about scientific notation, and I just want you to practice that. So as always, please let me know if you have any questions. I am here to help, okay? So I